This show is sponsored by Carpet Direct of Des Moines, Iowa. Welcome to Half Full and a Cup of Joe with Joe Fulford, the show that's always overflowing with optimism and caffeine. Joe's got his game face on and his coffee cup full, ready to dive into the world of football. From the Florida Gators to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beyond to college and NFL football, Joe's got the analysis, the insights, and the passion to get you pumped up and ready for the game. So sit back, relax, and fill up your cup with Joe. And now from West Des Moines, Iowa, here is Joe Fulford.
Oh, yes, we are ready to go on this beautiful Thursday night. Next to the last day of the week as we get you set for an exciting weekend. The last full weekend without football. Understand that, people. The last full weekend without football. I am just so pumped, ready, raring to go as we get you set up for what's going to be very exciting weekend. Yours truly, the Animal, joining you on this edition of Half Full and Cup of Joe with yours truly, Joe Fulford, not the Animal, Joe Fulford here with my half cup, Of course, you don't want to know what's in it. But it's sure going to be interesting for this next hour. Rowan Meadows is going to join me a little bit later on, and we'll discuss what's going on, not just with the Florida Gators, but with everything in college football from the SEC. Everything else that's happening. We might have Lucas, the main Gator, join me here in just a little bit and discuss what's going on recruiting-wise with the Florida Gators, because my understanding is there's some interesting news that's happening. So we might bring him on in just a few minutes and let him give us the insight on what's going on with the Gators and their recruiting class. I mean, they've been doing very well. Of course, we talked about the Bucks and everything. And what about the Bucks? I mean, here's the thing. As you look back on that game Saturday night, I know it was preseason. I know it was not a game that counts or anything, but you know what? As you look at that game, I was very much impressed by what I saw, especially with Graham Barton. I mean, if you go back and you look at that video and look at the way the man played, I mean, it was like, the moment that he hikes the ball, he's onto a guy. I mean, boom! Right then and there. And it was like, oh my God. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And the man graded out to like 85% according to Pro Football Focus. I mean, he played a very, very good game. And I'm interested just seeing what he does tomorrow night or Saturday night. Now, again, you're not going to see a lot of the starters. You're not going to see him till game 3. And I'm like, okay, is that a good thing? That you don't want to play guys till game 3? Playing my headphones here. You don't want to really play the guys until game 3? You don't want to give them at least a series in game 2? I understand injuries. I get that. And you don't want to avoid those. But wait till game 3. But then again, they did last year. Look where the Bucks ended up. So you never know what it's going to happen. As I said, Lauren Meadows is going to join me a little bit later on. We'll talk everything SEC related and probably get some insights into what's going on. Lucas, Jermaine Gators may join us in a little bit as we get ready for the season. But, even when the regular season goes around, recruiting is still happening. Don't think for one. This is not the Dan Mullen of old, whereby he just skips out of recruiting and wait till it's the off season. You know, these guys are recruiting around the clock, 24/7. And give credit to the recruiting staff and what they're doing. It's just amazing. I believe. Let me look at something here. Let's see here. 24/7. Is it 24/7? 247.com. Hang on here just a second. I've been so busy with a lot of things that are going on. Haven't been able to check the team rankings right now. Just pull up just now. Ohio State's number 1, Alabama number 2, LSU number 3, Georgia 4, Auburn number 5, Tennessee 8, Miami 10, Oklahoma, Texas. Let's see here. Florida's not even in the top 25 recruiting wise. In fact, as I scroll down here, this is going to 247 Sports. Michigan State is 56 in the country. Wow. They have 16 commits. No 5-star players. USF is right behind at 57. Did I see Iowa State 63? I mean, according to 247, I'm looking at the top 100 field, and I don't see the Florida Gators. Let me scroll back here for just a minute. This is off the cuff, people. I mean, Florida State's 18th, Missouri 17th, Michigan 14th. Interesting news about Michigan. We'll get you in just a minute. Yeah, I don't see Florida. I don't see Florida in the top 50. In fact, as far as the SEC, they're next to last in recruiting. 1 5-star. Let's see. 1 5-star and 5 4-stars. And 6 3-stars. I mean, I know we should be panicking right now, but to hear all that, I mean, to see that, it's like you're next to last in your conference in recruiting. Missouri's outbeating you. I mean, who was the last person? Yeah. The only person that you're beating right now is Vanderbilt. Wow. That's that's unbelievable. Wow. That's really unbelievable. Lucas, the man Gator, is going to join me here in just a minute, and as we get ready to bring him on, 15 out of 16 in recruiting class in your own conference. That does not bode well for the Florida Gators.
What's up, buddy?
I am doing good. I mean, 15 out of 16. I mean, it's not.
Well,
It's not a good thing, but I mean, I know it's early, but I mean, what's going on?
Well, there's kids are a little nervous that Billy might not be here next year. That's probably why they're waiting. They want to see us playing.
Yeah, and we saw some of those reports leaking out this week of Billy Napier's already been told that he's not going to be in for the next season, but I'm not buying that in the least bit. And I'm wondering how people like DJ Lagway and all those guys are feeling.
I'm telling you now, we're gonna get some good news tomorrow.
Oh, really? You'd like to give us a scoop on what's going on? Anything?
Come
on. I mean, come on. Go ahead. Do it.
Walter Benning Jr., the son of the former Gator Benning Sr., he's committing tomorrow. It's looking pretty good for Florida based on everything I can gather.
Okay. Cool. I mean, that's a nice gift for the Gators. I mean, that should put them up in the recruiting rankings a little bit. It's the news about Napier possibly not coming back here next year. Is that why
No,
people are being scared off? I mean,
I'm
your
a, I'm
opinion.
a,
What do
I'm
you think?
podcasting my buddy.
What do you think?
I honestly think if he wins a bowl game, if he gets to a bowl game, he's safe regardless.
Well, I think so too, but I'm talking about right now. The news of Napier possibly not coming back.
I
Why
think
would
that's
it scare? Why would it scare people off?
because they want to know if he's going to be here next year.
Uh huh. So they're trying to get a firm commitment now and make okay. So I get that. Okay, all right. That makes sense. Um, if Napier were to leave, could you see an exodus like
Yeah,
DJ Lagway
because a lot
possibly
of the
leaving and all
you
that?
got to remember a lot of these guys came to play for Napier.
Let me ask you this. I want an honest and I want an honest, truthful opinion. Your take on Billy Napier and how you think he's doing.
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he walked into a shit show. Pardon my language.
Go on further,
He
expand a
walked
little bit.
into a the roster was not SEC caliber roster, so it was gonna take three to it was gonna take it 2 or 3 years to get it to an SEC roster. I honestly think we're right on schedule. I'll be happy with 7 wins this year. If we can get to 7 to 8 wins, I'll be very happy. Which I think we can get to 7 to 8 wins.
Let me ask you this. What are you hearing inside? I mean, the outside noise is the outside. Inside the locker room is something different. What are you hearing? Are you hearing a lot of positive vibes coming out of the locker room?
Yeah,
What is it you're hearing?
more positive. I'm hearing that the guys are ready to get after it in 16 days, and they're ready to prove. They come up with a motto. We're not out here to prove We're not out here to prove any wrong. We're out here to prove everybody us right, or something like that.
A lot of talk's been happening not only about Billy Napier, but now the front office with Ben Sass stepping down and Fuchs now taking over the helm. I would think that puts Billy Napier, not just Billy Napier, in safe mode, but also Scott Strickland. But I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
that's totally
because
that that's
the
totally
president is
true.
the guy who hired the current president, the one who took over for Sass, is the guy who hired Strickland, and Strickland hired Napier. So I would assume this is just me bullshitting, but I would assume that this is a this is a good thing for
One
Napier, considering the guy who hired Strickland is back, and Strickland is the guy who hired Napier.
one of the things that's starting to come out is some misdirection in finances at the top with Ben Sass. I don't know if you've heard the story that's going around. What have you heard? What can you tell us? Is there anything more? Is it
I
something you
haven't
haven't
heard.
heard at all?
I've been following recruiting, so I haven't been. I've been busy with
Okay, all
following
right, that's
recruiting.
fine. Okay, cool. What else you got for me before we let you go?
Watch
Anything
for
else?
Nishawn Montgomery. He's a 4-star wide receiver out of Miami Central High School in Miami. Gators are looking pretty good there.
Okay, and as we get ready for the game, 2 weeks from this coming Saturday, uh,
I'll be streaming the game, by the way, on my YouTube channel.
nice. And you want to follow if you can't get the game, you can always follow Lucas Man on his YouTube channel and on Facebook, and he'll be televising the game there as well.
It will be with Sean Kelly and
Right,
Shane.
you're gonna have the radio call of the game while the game's being live streamed. So that should be cool. So we're gonna be following that. Anything else real quick that you want to bring up before we
Not that
let you
I
go?
can think of. I already gave you the big hitters.
Okay,
Watch
that's
for,
great.
watch for
Um,
Ben Hicks tomorrow. UF is
one more
looking pretty.
one more thing before I let you go. Jamari Lyons out for the year with a serious knee injury. How did they
No,
combat that?
he broke his ankle. He broke his
Yep.
ankle in scrimmage, and they're gonna bring. They have the one good thing about the way Nape is recruited is they have a lot of depth, so they can bring in Kelby Collins, they can bring in L.J. McCray, they can
Okay.
bring in
Who do you think, in your mind, who do you think has the top spot at that position?
probably Kelby Collins.
Okay. Cool. Should be interesting to follow. Hey, thanks for the update. We'll be following recruiting and any news that comes about, post it on Facebook. Love to
I
see the
will.
reports. All
You
right.
know, you know me. I'm always on top of that stuff. So
There you go. Yes, he is. So he is the dean of recruiting. Lucas the Man Gator joining us on this edition of Animal of the Half Full and Cup of Joe. So go have a cup of Joe on my behalf. Okay. Dilly dilly.
okay, dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly. All right. Lucas the Man Gator joining us. Cool. All right, brother. Have a good one. That is Lucas the Man Gator joining me on this edition of the Animal Football Insider. I'm sorry, Half Full and Cup of Joe. I'm still trying to get used to the new settings, you know? So Davian Benito joining me and any others that will join me, go ahead. We'll be joined by Lauren Meadows here in just a couple of minutes. Let me give you my take on the game Saturday night. Bucks played their first preseason game. I thought that Contrast did himself very well. I thought the running game improved immensely. I thought that Graham Barton, oh my gosh. If you go back and look at the replay of the game and look at Graham Barton, the way he played in that center position. That man was quicker than Lauren Meadows cooking a dinner. I mean, that man was so quick. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And I know that a lot of starters didn't play, guys, but look, when you look at the way this team played throughout the course of the game, I thought they did fine. Okay, I thought Kyle Trask played a very good game. I think Kyle Trask is going to be a fine backup. And if Baker Mayfield, God forbid, should he ever go down, I'm confident that Kyle Trask can get the job done. I don't know how everybody else feels, but comment in my post. You're more than welcome to. So that's my take on the Buccaneers and how I feel like they're going to do. And of course, they play against Jacksonville this coming Saturday night. They're already in Jacksonville right now practicing, joint practices with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to do that again tomorrow and then get ready for the game on Saturday night in Jacksonville. Do not expect the starters to play a lot. I doubt we'll see the starters play, but I think Graham Barton will get his fair share of action. Speaking of action, there's a man who's not a myth, but he's a legend in his own mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a legend in his own mind. A man that knows the Gators like the back of his hand. Back of his hand. And he does a mighty fine job with the Florida Gators. And we're going to try and keep him on as long as we can to talk not only about the Gators, but everything that's going on in the world of college football. He is a writer for Gatorbait Magazine, does a great job with that, which means I need to renew my subscription very soon, but people think I need a prescription in itself. Ron Meadows, the chief writer for GatorbaitMedia.com. Always a pleasure to have you, my friend. How you doing?
How you doing, sir? Yeah, you're too kind. I don't know if I'm the chief writer. That goes to Franz Beer, but I try to do a little something.
I like, you know what? I love the background. I love all the Gator emblem. maybe you should have a logo of the gate of the animal half full and cup of Joe thing back there. But that's
You
for
have,
another
you have to
time.
give me one, man. You have to swag me out. Give me some swag, and I can get
Yeah,
on. And the sad thing
I
about it is, this is I'm sure you know this in Iowa too. In Ohio, we have basements, so this is probably the abbreviated version of the presentation. If you ever come down to Gainesville, you have to stop by. But this is
oh
only,
yeah,
this is only half of what I had in the basement when I had a basement in Ohio. But Florida houses are a little smaller, so
yeah,
this
yeah.
is where we are. So, but no, it's nice, and yeah, we try to do a little something, man. This is kind of the is where the only Gator stuff in the entire house is in this room. So
It's your man cave.
essentially, yeah,
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 it is your man cave.
yeah.
Let's call it like it is. Oh, by the way, just got word of far as the buck goes. There'll be no joint practices tomorrow. Probably a walkthrough as they get ready for the game on Saturday night against Jacksonville. Of course, the Gators won't be playing in Jacksonville until week 8 or 9 when they meet the Georgia Bulldogs in what's called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but the big story going around, I don't know if it's the big story, but there was some news that I saw earlier this afternoon. I don't know how much you know about this. And you don't want to comment, that's fine. Um, of course, we know by now that there's been a change in leadership. Ben Sass out as president of the University of Florida. Kim Fuchs, right? Back
Fox,
in at
Fox. It's actually pronounced Fox.
Fox. Okay,
Yeah,
Fox, but it's Fu. Okay,
yeah.
so Kim Fox is back in as the interim president for now.
Mm-hmm.
Now a story comes out today, at least on Twitter, in which there was misuse of finances under the helm of Ben Sass. I mean, do you know anything about this? Does this affect the athletic program or anything?
No, I don't. No, it won't. It won't have it. It won't have any.
Okay.
It won't have anything to do with athletics. I did hear that. I think the Alligator was the first to report it, and I heard of it. I think last week, late last week, somebody or something. Oh no, it was I had dinner with a friend on Tuesday, and he's kind of dialed in as well, and he was the one that kind of talked about it, and it's one of those things where unfortunately mismanagement of funds is not the same as embezzlement or stealing per se.
No,
So
no, no. And we want to
right, no, no,
clarify
no.
that. We're
Well,
not talking about investment or
when I
anything like that.
want to, it's kind of like innocent till proven guilty. I had the opportunity to meet Ben Sass a couple times. Was always cordial, very approachable. Really didn't take itself too seriously. Was a big football fan.
Oh yeah, if you were a fan of Twitter or X now as it's called,
Mhm.
you would see videos where Sass were actually be in the stands selling Coke, selling popcorn in the stands of fans undercover. And I don't know how many people recognized him, but it was nice to see the head of the university get involved with
Right
with the program, but
now,
that's
and
for that's for that's for upper top and that's for
right
management.
now,
Okay.
with that said, I think a lot of people misunderstand what the job of a president is. And I know some people were kind of concerned when they brought Fox in, but Fox did it. I mean, Fox has probably been one of the more successful presidents in
Uh,
Florida's time. You talk about Florida. I think when he took over, Florida may have been 15th as a public university. Now it's arguably, it's definitely top five, arguably number one, depending on what you read. And all those things were under his leadership. So, I always tell people numbers don't lie. And, you look at there's buildings going up. They've, built facilities. They did a lot of things. And so, unfortunately, Ben Sass, he claimed it was his wife. Obviously, she does have some health issues. So we'll be praying for that. But as far as the other, sometimes you got to just, if there is something that is criminal, then the process will play itself out. If not, then Ben Sasse will go into a life of, whatever he chooses to do. Now, the question could be, well, how much of this could blow back on Governor DeSantis, seeing as he appointed Ben Sasse basically as the president, from what I understand. Now, does it matter? I don't know. I mean, but you talk about maybe a ripple effect kind of thing, maybe. But I think Florida was in good hands with Ben Sasse. I think they are in good hands and were in good hands under Ken Fox. So I'm kind of, when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to school presidents, the kids are going to class, they're getting smarter. I mean, if I had one gripe, and even though I don't have college age children, my children are gone and probably couldn't have got into Florida anyway. I think that whoever assumes leadership, I think that the University of Florida they've done a great job at a national brand as well as even an international brand, but maybe putting themselves back in play. There's a lot of in-state people that are a little upset about the admissions and things like that, I think that the University of Florida could address, and maybe endearing themselves back to the in-state students and parents a little bit better. But other than that, from what I've seen, really from both presidents, it was very positive. So, carry on, and all that other stuff will play itself out in the background.
You're sort of the animal with you on this. You're sort of Joe Fulford with you on this edition of Half Full and Cup of Joe. As you know, as we're talking about this tonight, some stories are starting to come out about Billy Napier and his job, and that he's been notified that he's not going to be here for the next season. I'm not buying that for 1 second.
Absolutely not. No.
What is your take on this?
I mean, there's no way. It's just like when people were saying that he had already told recruits that he was going to hire an offensive coordinator, and we were in week 5. And remember, I told you it wasn't going to happen. But anyway, 5. I mean, there's no way he would tell. There's so many reasons why he would never tell a recruit that. And whoever reported that shame on them, because there's no way that was true, and you should know better. But you wouldn't. I mean, the man's got a 6-year contract. You would never ever say, "Hey, you won't be here next year." Because what if he goes out and goes 10-2, 11-1? I mean, are you serious?
Which there's a possibility that it could happen.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
With the way things could land,
So,
I mean, like.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if they go through this first gauntlet 6-7-0, they're gonna win 8-9 games, I would think. So I
would think so too.
Even that would be an improvement. But so yeah, I mean, there's no way, absolutely not. So whoever, I don't know where that came from, but absolutely not. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense.
No.
They haven't even
I don't.
Miami, and Billy Napier is too much of a man of principle to coach as a lame duck coach. I mean, there's no way. So if he wasn't going to be the coach of the University of Florida, and he had already been told that, he wouldn't be coaching right now.
Yeah. Ron Meadow joining us on this edition of Half Full and Cup of Joe. Well, you're surely Joe Fulford, Ron Meadows, chief writer for GatorBaitMedia.com, also known as GatorBait Magazine. Josh Pate, who well-known guy in the media circle, and very respectable. I admire what Josh Pate does. He was down in Florida recently, and he had interviews with Graham Mertz. He talked with Billy Napier, great interviews on both fronts. And Josh made a point, and I want you to talk about this. He says that things are different from what the way they are on the outside as to the way they are on the inside. Now, of course, you and I don't know what's going on the inside. You only have a presumption of what's going on. Give us your presumption of what's going on inside the confines of this football program, in your opinion.
It's a very confident football team. I think that those that have been around for 2, 3 years have seen the roster evolve to what they think is the positive. And, you got your main players that really feel like this thing is going to be pretty good. And I'm talking the Graham Mertz, the Montrell Johnsons, the Shamar James, the Tyreek Sapps, the Asa Turners, who has been in a championship program, and played against championship type teams. So he definitely has a barometer to judge that out. It's a very confident bunch. They definitely believe in their head coach. There is no doubt about that. And Billy Napier has the full support of the entire football, as he calls, organization. And I mean, so right now they believe that everything is going the way that it should. I spoke with somebody, like I told you last week, that's very close to the program. He said, from a character standpoint, among other things, this is the best roster that they've had, and he's been around the football team for 3 years. I mean, it's just one of those things where everybody inside that program believes that this is the year they're going to take the next step. Now, you still got to go out there and make plays and do the things you need to do. But, I talk to people and I ask them, I say, tell me about Coach Napier and this, that, and the other. And everybody, to a man and woman, is bought in. And so, inside the program, they're ready to go. It's not necessarily us against the world. They just feel like that regardless of the schedule, regardless of what has happened the last 2 years, this is the year that they take the next step. So now, what does that next step? What is defined next step? Is next step the college football playoff? I don't necessarily. I mean, I think that's you got to just worry about what you can do the first 12 weeks and then decide. But I think they feel like that they can be a team that is perched somewhere in the top 25 by the time this thing is over, and looking at playing a meaningful bowl game where you don't have 15, 20 opt-outs, where Florida shows up and then they're ready to play football, after the Christmas holiday or during the Christmas holiday or whatever. But, from what I've gathered, inside is everybody is dialed in, bought in, and they're ready to go.
One of the things I wanted to do, I mean, we talk about Florida a lot. There's going to be plenty of time for conversation to talk about the Gators, especially 2 weeks from tonight, as we'll be 2 days away from the start of the season. But let's talk about college football as a whole. Let's start with in-state. You got Florida State, you got Central Florida, you got Miami. Then you got the USF Bulls, a team that I don't know if they're going to make some noise this year, but they certainly have brought in some pretty good talent. To talk about South Florida from what you know and your evaluations of the college football from a state of Florida perspective.
Well, really, all I really know about South Florida is there seems to be a commitment to bring that program into the I mean, under Jim Leavitt, they spent some time in the top 5 and different things like that. But a commitment to an on the field, on campus football facility, that'll allow students to come and do the things that they need to do. I mean, I know that they're, it's kind of still a work in progress, but it speaks to the fact that all the schools in Florida want to be invited to the party. And, you look at UCF now being in the Big 12, and that place just looks unbelievable. I mean, you see that Big 12 money all over the place when you're on UCF's campus. I mean, no doubt about it. And then Florida State, for them, they feel like that they are in a place where year in and year out, they can compete to be in the 12-team playoff. I mean, I think they, if there was a 12-team playoff last year, even with or without the QB, they would have made it. Now, did I think they were one of the top 4 teams even with Travis? No, I didn't. I did not think they were one of the top 4 teams.
Really?
But no, I did not. But they had earned the right to prove it on the field. Now,
right.
With 12 teams, they get to do that. So, right now, I think they feel like that they're in a good place as far as recruiting. They've done a great job in the transfer portal. I mean, they've really hit on some guys. And so, with that said, I mean, it just, everybody feels like they are. Now, you look at Miami, the quarterback seems to be the answer to all their problems. I think they're pretty good up front on the defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see how Florida handles that the first game. But they feel like the quarterback, he went from Incarnate Word to Washington State now to Miami. And, he could be somebody that ends up, maybe being the difference maker. But the state of Florida football is everybody is dialed in and definitely trying to be relevant, So I think that's one of the things that, and then I saw somebody came across, said they break ground homecoming weekend. So
that's on the University of South Florida campus where they earlier this year they agreed to build an on-campus stadium, and they're going to break ground on the stadium for homecoming weekend. That's courtesy of my good friend Davey and Benito. But you talk about the University of Miami. Hang on, I want to read you something. This is courtesy of Twitter. Okay, I'm going to read you this verbatim. Wait a minute, you're gonna love this. Okay, all right. University, and this is a quote courtesy of the Miami Herald. New University of Miami booster John H. Ruiz's insurance claims company LifeWallet has told investors on Wednesday that there is, quote, substantial doubt, end quote, about its ability to continue operations. Okay? To which Nick Delatorre replies, man, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Leave it to Nick. Leave it to Nick. Well, that's great.
Right. The thing about it, when you look at USF, they had a better record than Florida last year. I mean,
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And
team, and I think they might have pulled the trigger on the last guy a little too soon, but Golesh came in and kind of did the deal. And I mean, I think they got a QB that was his last name Brown. I think Brown, I mean, seems to be, and I'm one of those people that always, if you got a trigger man, you got a chance. And you got somebody that you can hang your head on in a league that is definitely winnable. So, I mean, I think that, you talk about the, USF, if you talk about the 2024 season, are they, I mean, you look at the schedule. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule now. I mean, you got Bethune-Cookman, that could be a win. Then you go to Alabama, that's a loss. But you got Southern Miss, I mean, they're kind of running the same train.
Hold up. And that's why I want to change the conversation.
Go
Alabama.
ahead.
Let's change the conversation a little bit. Let's get off the USF. We know what they're going to do and everything. Alabama. They have a new head coach in Caleb Deloach, a new offense and everything.
Right.
A lot of people don't think that they're going to do very well this year. Your take on the state of the University of Alabama and its football program? Do you think they pick up what they left off, or you like these other people that think that they're gonna go off the handle a little bit and start a rebuilding mode? Which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a new coach, new regime, new era.
Kalen DeBoer can coach. Period.
The board. Thank you. Okay.
He has won every single place that he has ever been. And now you hand him the most well-tuned engine that he's ever been able to drive. You know,
Right.
will they lose 2 football games? Possibly.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. But I don't see it. I mean, they got a plethora of riches down up there. And that's not going to go away, and he can coach. So, no, he's not Saban. But if you look at it from the standpoint of being able to go different places and infuse the program just like Saban did, he's done that. I don't think Alabama loses much at all. I would be shocked if they're not. I mean, they'll be in the playoff, no doubt about it. They will be one of the top 12 teams in college football this year. Absolutely. Once again, got Trigger Man. I think DeBoer could actually make Milroe a better quarterback than Saban did. You think about it. Sometimes, man, there were some times where, it was kind of stale on offense and, and far as the presentation and things like that, where you watch Washington and they were kind of moving and grooving a little bit more, had a little bit more pizzazz. So, maybe it's kind of a, complimentary football kind of deal where DeBoer, lets the deal. I mean, they're going to miss some of the guys that they lost. Caleb Downs, that was a big loss. He's up at Ohio State. But they've still got some dudes. And remember, the year before, Alabama had the best recruiting class ever in the history of football. College football, if you look at the ratings. And then this year, he had the number 1 class again. So, if you telling me it's about Jimmy's and Joe's instead of X's and O's, DeBoer has everything he needs. I don't see them taking a step back much at all. Not one bit.
What one team first of all in the SEC, what one team in the SEC do you see this year as being a surprise? One of those people that you never would have thought would come out of left field and just surprise the hell out of you.
In the SEC, surprise.
In the SEC. And by the way, while you're thinking about that, Davian, if you would post in chat, Golish, is this its first year or second year? That's what I'd like to know.
It's Golish. It's second year.
That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure that's why I'm with that. Davian, go ahead.
They were 7-6 in his first year.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I wanted to get confirmation of that. Okay. Who's the one surprise team that you see saying to yourself, I never saw this coming?
Wow, in the SEC.
In my mind, I gotta think to myself, maybe Auburn creeping up a little bit. I think Missouri is another team that
do you consider a team that went to and won the Cotton Bowl last year a surprise?
Who's that?
Missouri.
Yeah, I thought they were surprised. I thought they played.
Consider them a surprise this year is what I'm saying.
Oh, based on last year, probably not, because I know what they're,
I'm not
what they're expecting.
Missouri. So yes. So let me say this. Okay, so we'll do it this way. I'm gonna give you 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Missouri because I'm not buying Missouri. So everybody else is kind of buying Missouri. I'm not buying Missouri.
Okay.
That's one. Number 2 would be, instead of Texas being the darling and being the new kid, I think Oklahoma's going to play a little better football in the league than people think.
I do too.
So that would be number 2. And then my third would be, I got the Gators at 7-5. So it's going to be a topsy-turvy 7-5. But if they would be 9-3, which you could see, then that would be a surprise. So I would say those three teams would be a surprise for all different reasons.
Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the college football nation as a whole. And of course, the big news involves around Jim Harbaugh and everything that happened with the University of Michigan. And for those that don't know what's going on, let's kind of review here for just a minute. I'll be back to you in just a minute. What we're talking about with the University of Michigan is this. Several assistant coaches somehow were granted access to sidelines of opponents' games. And in the process, they would be able to get the hand signals and things like that. And then when they would go back home, they would relay those signals to Harbaugh and Michigan, so they know what the hand signals were about. But now, Lauren, take it from here, because I don't know if I'm right on this, but I mean, that's the gist of what I got out of all this, is that assistant coaches or boosters, whoever it was sitting on Michigan or opponent sidelines, and they were getting the hand signals from coaches, right? Am I right on this?
Well, I think a couple times they had gained sideline access. They were paying for guys like support personnel to go and get the signals and that kind of thing. And then a couple times they actually sat in the stands and videotaped but the cover up is what's been, because I think they found now that Sharon Moore, who's the new head coach, had sent text messages to another guy kind of talking about it. And then, they pretty much hit Harbaugh with a don't come back to college football kind of show cause from the NCAA.
4 years.
Yeah.
So 4-year clause. And
he was going to be an honorary captain at their first game. He's not coming back. So I think I think they're trying to do everything they can at this point to not lead to a vacating of, their first championship since 1998. So, I think that's where this is going. But obviously it's not a good look for Sharon Moore. He was kind of thought to be kind of out of the loop, so to speak, when he took over for Harbaugh and coached those games and things like that, those last few games. But now it sounds like that he was culpable in some ways, whether it be the cover up or what have you. So with that, I mean, it just taints the whole thing. And Harbaugh brings with him a certain there's always something with him, even though the man can definitely coach football. And it just stains, what was a really good year for a really good football team in the Michigan Wolverines. And then that's kind of where they are now. If this thing continues to go and, there leads to a vacating of the national championship, does Alabama even accept, hey, not Alabama, excuse me. Does Washington say, hey, we were runner up and throw a big 2023 national champs like UCF did? I don't know, but I think right now that's where they are. And I would say behind the scenes, damage control is just trying to get away from vacating that national title. Because right now that's what they got. Harbaugh's gone. They hit him. They got Moore with a second level, whatever violation. He's got to walk kind of the straight line. Now it's like, okay, let's protect that trophy and make sure we don't have to get that thing back.
What would make Michigan even want to bring it back after even all this happened? They were going to bring it back the first game of the year.
Well, remember, man, he's the man there, man. I mean, he led them through, a successful run in the 80s. I mean, they were, he's a pretty good quarterback there, played in the NFL, had a long career. I mean, he has represented the University of Michigan from an accomplishment standpoint very, very well. And then he goes and wins the national title. I mean, after everything, and they stuck with him, they hung in there with him, and he wins the national title. And that's why. I mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, Woody Hayes punched a guy square in the face, and the
Remember that?
Ohio State facility bears his name. I mean, so, and I'm not dogging Woody Hayes because I mean he did a lot.
No.
Yeah,
I remember that game very well. I saw that live.
you got those favorite sons, man. I mean, it's so that's why. I mean, they love the guy. I mean, anybody above, the state line. I mean, once you pass into Michigan, on I-75 after you pass through Toledo, I mean, that's Wolverine country, and then they love him. I mean, they love him.
We're talking about Lauren Meadows, you truly Joe Fulford, half full cup of Joe in this edition on beautiful Thursday night. We got NFL football, New England and the Eagles. New England leading 10-3. For those that even care about that, we're talking football in general. I got to thinking a moment ago, and I'm surprised the internet had to shut down because of my thinking here. The Pac-10. They've been awfully quiet the last few years. I don't get it. I mean, it's like, they're just, why did we haven't heard from teams like UCLA or USC or even Washington State, teams like that? Yeah, granted, Washington made the playoffs last year, but this probably the first time we've seen that in a while.
Well, I mean, Washington is, I think they've been to the college football. That was the second time.
One time.
Well, one time before, because they went when Chris Peterson was the coach.
That's right. Yes, they did. Thank you for correcting me on that. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
But
yes.
But I think that just, I mean, Oregon's been right there. I mean, Washington State's competitive. I mean, they everybody, I mean, UCLA is just kind of, because it's just not a college town. There's too much stuff to do on Saturday in LA. I mean, got other stuff to do. I mean, it's just not that. I mean, and that I think that's one of the reasons they went into the Big Ten is because it kind of puts you in the face of other teams, and you're not playing your games at midnight, where nobody's watching. So you get kind of the East Coast view. And, unfortunately, Washington State was Washington State, Oregon State, and one more school got left behind. And so, it's really the Pac. I mean, they still call themselves a Pac-10, I think, but I mean, it's not a conference anymore. And I mean, it's just a sign of the times. Colorado's in the Big 12 now, Arizona's in the Big 12. All those schools have kind of played jostle a little bit, and it just everything's kind of shifted when the SEC and really the Big Ten start planting their flags of dominance. It just really went sideways for the Pac-12 schools, and a lot of those schools, a lot of those players start coming east and things like that, and I mean, if a lot of times, kid grows up in in South Central LA or around that area, and the Bay, and they want to get out of there. You look at some of the quarterbacks that have left California. I mean, everybody from Jaden Daniels to CJ Stroud. I mean, a lot of those guys, they packed up and came this way, so I mean, it's just one of those things where they haven't really been able to keep some of that great talent in-house. And out there in Southern California, man, it's Laker, Dodgers, surf, then it's beach. I mean, just a lot going on, and they just having a hard
time. And now they get to host the 2028 Olympics, so they got that to look forward to.
Yeah. Yep.
You talk about Colorado, and I don't know. I don't know who's losing it more, Deion Sanders or Cormani McClain. I'm not sure, but and for those who don't know what we're talking about, Deion Sanders spoke to the media earlier this week, and there's reported that introduced himself, said, "I'm from CBS Sports," and it's like, Deion said, "I don't want to talk to you. I'm not. I'm not talking to you. I don't care who you are." I mean, number one, what is that about? And number two, what does that say about Deion Sanders and the state of Colorado?
Well, I think this reporter, and like I said, it goes with the business, and I think Deion's got to understand that. I guess he wrote some things last season and basically said, "You don't like us," or something like that. So, I'm not talking to. But the other thing is, you only won 4 games prime time. I love you. I'm a big prime time fan as a player. As a coach, the jury's still out. You won 4 ball games last year. 4. Now, that's an improvement from the one they won the year before you got there.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Won 4 football games. So, you are kind of in a position where you got star-studded sidelines and you got all these things going. And yes, you have made the university tons of money. But like I tell people, at the end of the day, it comes down to those 12 Saturdays in the fall. And Colorado's got to get it done. I mean, they are going to have their hands full in the Big 12. They still play some good football in the Big 12, even though Texas and Oklahoma are leaving. And you got to go. You got to tussle with some heavy hitters, man. And you talking everybody. You got the Utahs. You got Texas Christian. You got you still got Oklahoma State. You still got Baylor. There's some guys that they'll put 50 on you real quick if you don't play no defense. You get a 50 spot put on you fast. And so, just some of those schools that are, Central Florida. I hope you don't think you're going to come down here and just, from Colorado. It's still going to be hot in Orlando. He better, and that's what I'm saying. You got to tussle with some dudes now. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out with them coming into Big 12. And like I said, if he goes out 4 or 5 games, again, nobody want to hear that foolishness, man. You a coach now. You're not dancing on the sideline, taking punts back 80 yards. You're a football coach, and you got to take care of business. So I think that, sometimes I think all these coaches get in the mindset of, well, just take it or leave it. And you're 4-8, you're 5-7. You got these things going, and it's like the media and those that are truly invested in the program, so just take whatever you got to say and go with it. That act gets old, man. And for Deion, he got to win some football games this year.
When does the media have when is there a rule that says that the media has to be a fan of the team that you're covering? I don't know, but to me, I saw that thing. I'm like, really? You have to that guy had to be fan in order to cover your team?
Well, no, but I do think you have to be respectful. And I don't know what this guy said. I know when it comes to Deion, it's kind of like LeBron. People will take a strong stance against a man that's 6'7", 270 pounds.
Yeah.
You don't really want to run up on LeBron talking the stuff you talk online or in your articles and things like that. So maybe this gentleman says something that was demeaning. He does have 2 sons on the team. He considers Travis Hunter a 3rd son, basically. Maybe he said something that was derogatory and not really about football. Guys can get caught up in their own feelings and things like that. Like, I try to maintain some impartialness, but I also try to not make it personal, and so, maybe that's what it is. But no, as my mentor in journalism, Buddy Martin, would tell me, you're not supposed to be a fan at all.
No.
And that's why you don't wear your Florida stuff in the press box and things like that. When you saw me at Missouri, I was in all black because can't be partial, So with that said,
but you are a Florida Gator fan.
Absolutely.
So you can show it,
right.
Yeah.
Right, but when I'm writing and I put my name to something, or even when I'm talking here, I try not to use words like we, because I'm not, we try to be
Right, right. No, I understand
professional.
that.
But with that said, you got it. Yeah, you see around me and that kind of thing. But even then, right, you don't have to be a fan of the team. A lot of those guys just doing a job. I mean, I know a young lady that's writing for AL.com right now. I mean, she grew up a diehard Gator fan. I know good and well she ain't no Auburn fan, but she writes about Auburn.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, so I know, so what I'm saying is, no, you don't, but I think you do have to be respectful.
Let's turn this around 360 and let's come back home to Gainesville, because I mean I've noticed in the past few press conferences that Napier's had with you guys, whereby when Edgar asks a question, Napier's not too thrilled about it. Is there a little feud that's going on between Edgar and Napier? I mean, what's the story on that?
I mean, not that I know of. I just know that Edgar's really good at what he does. I'm a big fan of Edgar,
Oh,
and
I am too. I am
no,
too.
no, no, no. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, I don't know of anything.
Okay.
Edgar and I talk quite a bit, and I mean, I think he just, you report where you feel like the program is, and no, I do. I mean, in fairness to both gentlemen, I don't know of anything at all. It seems,
Okay. Okay.
and from what I've heard is the media is actually fairly happy with Billy Napier right now, from what I understand. Obviously a lot of those guys put in a lot more time than I do to it. But it sounds like and from what I gathered is that right now things are, pretty good. So
We talked about Colorado and the deal with Deion Sanders and everything, and there's a connection there because Cormani McLean left Colorado to come down to the University of Florida. Florida had previously tried to recruit him, but he decided to go to Colorado. Turns around, comes back to Florida. You heard the news about some of the stuff that went out. Um, Things that I'm hearing about Cormani McLean are fairly good. That he's catching on to the system and everything. Have you talked to McLean? Get a feeling on what his mindset is. I mean, what's going on there?
no, and I would assume we probably won't, because I think Billy, we never really get first year players. So
Second year. It's in his
yeah,
second year
but
first.
but I would think in this case, with the way things kind of went down in it at Colorado, whoever, I would venture to think that Billy Napier is going to hit the reset button on Cormani and kind of
Okay,
treat him like he's a freshman.
a freshman. Okay.
So, and just kind of, so I don't think we'll get any time with him now. Maybe somebody catches him out, but I'm gonna tell you, man, I wouldn't know. A lot of these guys, I mean, I know some of them, but I wouldn't know him if I mean, I guess I'd be like, yeah, that's him. I think that's him, but I wouldn't
Gotcha.
see him out or
Okay.
anything. And
No,
like I
that's fair.
said, and I know at practice he's been limited. He had a black jersey on one day and wasn't dressed, but I don't know. I don't know the gist of it. And I think at this point, it's, you got Jason Marshall Jr., you got Devin Moore. And, I think a lot of people were pleased when Devin Moore was in the non-contact. Everybody was like, oh my God, here he is. He's hurt again, but turns out he had an infected tonsil or something. So
Mm-hmm.
down the road, maybe after the season, might have to have a tonsillectomy or something like that, or
Right.
problem maybe in their off week, they can get that done or whatever. He just wouldn't be able to call out some signals for a couple days or whatever. But so I know that that's kind of been the focus. People were kind of asking about that. As far as McLean goes, it just seems like he needs to just continue to grow in the Florida system. And I mean, I think we'll see him at some point this season, but he still may just need a little bit more seasoning as this thing continues.
Lauren Meadows joining us on this edition of Half-Full Cup of Joe with yours truly, Joe Fulford. Lauren Meadows. Gators had their first scrimmage, I think, a few days ago. Were you there? Did you like what you saw?
I actually was out of town, and
Oh,
you know, the we don't see much. You
I
see
see. Okay.
you see them warm up, you see who's dressed for the scrimmage, you get little tidbits, but nothing that I think stood out. I mean, Billy seemed pleased with the way that, obviously you got to, I mean, it's a scrimmage. You got to come out of it with some things to work on. But I think he was pleased with the tempo, pleased with the way that the scrimmage carried out. And I think it was, basically a stalemate. Defense scored, defense stopped them. Offense did a few little things. He mentioned, I can't remember, it was a receiver. I can't remember the name, but a couple of receivers made some nice plays. But it's first scrimmage. First probably real live type action. From
And
what I
that's where what's the Lions injured his ankle. Is that
they
what you
did,
were, right?
yes, they did.
Yeah.
They
So
did lose
yeah.
Jamar Lyons, and he was at practice yesterday, which was kind of impressive. Leg wrapped up, but in a wheelchair, right by the D line, cheering guys on, pushing them. Little
Pretty
coach
impressive.
sideline. So yeah, I mean, and that's what I talk about. You go back to what we talked about earlier, and you talk about just character of the team and just leadership throughout the program, and that has improved. Now, that don't necessarily win you ball games, because
No, but
you,
it does. But I
it,
think it helps with.
a bunch of idiots and they go out and beat people 30-0. I mean, but it does speak to the fact that there has been an attempt and they have accomplished improving the roster in every way. And so, and you even remember Jamari Lyons, who, unfortunately, and this is not to call the kid out because, had the spitting incident in the Florida State game last year, so, but just even shows his growth, maybe. I don't know the young man. I'm sure he regrets that. I'm sure he wasn't raised that way. Things happen, but you just see that his commitment to the team is there. When he could have been in the training room, lollygagging, looking on his phone, he's dialed in a wheelchair 10 feet from where the D-line is getting after it, coaching them up and cheering them on.
I was going to talk about something else here. Graham Mertz. I don't know if you saw it, but he was on Paul Feinbaum the other day. I don't know if you saw the interview.
I did.
I mean, that's a guy that seems to be. I think he wants to put on the pads and start playing tomorrow. I mean, this guy looks like he's really fired up.
Yeah, I mean, Graham Mertz has played a lot of football and winning football. I mean,
Yeah.
He played in the Big Ten. He had a great season in his first year in the SEC. He's seen it all, done it all. There's nothing that you're going to throw at Graham Mertz that he hasn't seen. And, the big thing for him is just continuing to clean it up. But like I told somebody, he's almost like at master's level now when it comes to playing quarterback. And what I mean by that is now, I'm sure that he will even be able to express some of the things like, okay, this is in the game plan. I don't really like this. I like this. What about this? And really have the freedom to really get the offense into some of the best plays that he thinks they should be in, from a freedom standpoint. And, I see some of the rankings and guys that are ranked ahead of him. And I just don't see it. I mean, I don't. I mean, I really don't. And so, I think he's a top-notch player. I think he's a Sunday afternoon guy. And, like I said, the one thing about the Gators is they got the QB. And when you got a QB, you got a chance. So
You sure do. It's going to be interesting to see. Last thing before we let you go. Actually, two things. Number one, Twitter, FSU posted a thing on Twitter where they had their big semi truck leaving the premises headed to Dublin, Ireland. Okay, I don't know you saw that or not. Gee, I don't know what was the gist. I don't know what was the purpose of that.
I mean, it was probably a joke that you can't drive to Dublin, so they were like, here we go on the way to.
I'd be interested to see how they get that equipment over to Dublin.
Oh, you put it'll hold on a plane. I mean, they charter flights. I mean, they'll put quite a bit, and then there's stuff. I mean, they play football over there now. I mean, it's pretty much a lot of the same stuff you can use for soccer. I mean, they got, I mean, because you're taking a lot of stuff. You just say, hey, do you have that? Can we borrow that from the University of Dublin or whoever else? I mean,
yeah, great point. Great point. Yeah.
But as far as equipment and all that stuff is concerned, they can either, charter a second flight or, a lot of it'll hold on a plane. I mean, because they ain't taking a whole bunch of luggage and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it'll hold, it'll hold probably. I mean, or they charter a bigger plane or something like that, So because I'm sure for this trip, everybody going. So all the big boosters and big money people. So I'm sure they had to enlarge the size of the plane anyway. So they could take a bigger plane and get all this stuff over there.
And by the way, Florida State will play a week from this Saturday in Dublin, I believe against USC, but I'm not sure about that. But
Georgia Tech.
So that's going to be very interesting. Okay, take us through the next 10 days as we get ready for the big game. 10 days, no, more than 10 days. I keep thinking the next week is week 1, but it's going to be week 0.
Mm-hmm.
But really, truthfully, take us to the next 10 days, because then after that, it's game week preparation for the University of Miami. What happens here now over the course of the next 10 days? Do they have another live scrimmage?
There'll be one more scrimmage, and then that's pretty much tree shaking. That last scrimmage is you better go get it. I mean, Napier expressed that the depth chart is not very fluid. There's still a lot of things up for grabs. So, they want to keep everybody healthy. So they have but you got to have that one more scrimmage. And, during that scrimmage, they'll do a lot live on the special teams and things like that, and really start to hone in on different personnel groupings and that kind of thing. And then by next, I mean, I would assume they'll probably break camp, Thursday, maybe do some meetings Friday, come in, and then it's game week, it's game prep. And, so whatever they, however they do it, I know during the season they practice on Sunday. So maybe they'll give them Saturday off, come back Sunday night and start getting after it. And I mean, by that next Thursday, the game plan's in, that's it. And you tighten up the fine tuning, and it's time to go. So I mean, that's what's left is to really get guys healthy. If see evaluate a guy like Montrell Johnson. Maybe if you got a little ding or something, but you're already established guy, and they know what they got from you, they may hold you out of the scrimmage. So that second scrimmage could be for depending on how the week goes, that could be to decide who's second to run out there, who's the backup, and that kind of thing, and who is going to kind of solidify themselves, to where, because what you really want to be, you want to be in that 65 to 70. So when you get up and travel, you want to be part of that group. And so, that's where this will kind of shake itself out. They'll probably install a few little last minute things, but in a lot of ways, the offense is in, and they'll probably maybe even throw some things in there that they think they might use for Miami during this week and that kind of thing, just to kind of see how it looks live and that kind of thing, and then go from there.
The NCAA instituted a rule now where you can have more coaches on the field during game day. Would this help the team? I mean, I don't know.
Well, they've always been on the field. They just couldn't coach. Now they can coach. They can actively coach. So,
okay.
They have the 2 special teams guys. That could be key. And then you got a guy like Dan Enos, who I think is helping out as an analyst and Coach O'Hara, who helps with the quarterbacks, so they could just have a more active role in coaching those guys up on the field and that kind of thing. So, you're just gonna have a lot of guys that can lend an ear, be an extra set of eyes, and then provide feedback. So, it's kind of the same thing, but it just, they could step up a little bit more, and depending on, I think that some analyst or guru, whatever these guys are, is the nephew of the coach, or you don't know how effective they are, but you look at a guy like up at Tennessee, they got a guy named Taver Johnson who has coached, he was defensive back coach under Urban Meyer. He's coached with Lou Holtz. He's
Right.
He's very good friends with Wink Martindale, who was with the Giants and that kind of thing. He was with the Eagles last season. He brings, you're talking about a heavy dude that was an analyst. Now it's going to be able to commit itself to on some game day type of things, and that could be huge. So different guys, will have different effects, and a lot of those guys are just rah guys on Saturday, but a lot of them will play a big role. Definitely for Florida, the two special teams guys being able to really coach them up and commit should hopefully eliminate some of the issues that have plagued Florida, because everybody talks about the defense, but special teams haven't been much better in the first 2 years under Billy Napier either. So
yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. You talk about Urban Meyer. Well, real quick, talk about Urban Meyer. And I know he's retired and everything. We see him on Buddy Morton's on Fridays.
Yeah, he ain't coaching no more.
But does he have a connection within the Florida program? Is he talking to Napier or anything?
No, not anymore. No, I don't think. I think he's kind of he's still a major player up in Columbus. I think he and so
and he's going to be on Fox this year too, right?
His connection. Well, he was on Fox last year, yeah. So his connection with Ryan Day and just he's got two restaurants up there. I mean, they they're very he and Shelly both are very they got a place down here in Florida too, but I mean he's not here in Florida. No, I mean he's expressed, the one thing I can appreciate about Urban Meyer when it comes to Florida, he's consistent. And what I mean by that is he tells the same story all the time, meaning that he truly understands what this thing means to the state of Florida and the people that follow the Florida Gators. And on Friday with Buddy, he is very adamant about expressing that sentiment and that when you take this job is not for the weak, and so there has been an expectation since 1990, and really only two people have reached it. One said it, and then one duplicated it. After that, everybody's been chasing those two cats. So, you just it's different. And Urban said it on Saturdays in the South when he went around and was kind of introducing himself to the fraternity houses and the sorority houses. They let him know, hey Doc, this is for real. And he tells that story in many ways, at different times, particularly like that. So, Urban, has done really well, does a great job on TV. They got a great group over there at Fox. And, I think it's just going to continue that way. But as far as involvement here, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Napier reached out to him or they discussed. I wouldn't know that up firsthand, but like I said, I do know that he's a football guy, and you can be a football guy, and you don't have to be inside the program. You can watch a football team play and see what some of the issues are.
Final question for you: give me a surprise team to watch out for, not just in the SEC, but all the world of college football. Give me that one team that says to Lauren Meadows, this could be a sleeper. This could be a team that could make a lot of noise in 2024.
Man, I should say this.
Go!
UCF.
Oh wow. Okay. 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 Interesting. Interesting.
Watch UCF in the Big 12. You know, you could probably say that you look at their schedule, they will probably be favored in quite a few of those football games, and no Texas, no Oklahoma. They got the QB Jefferson, who he gets out on you, man. It's interesting. You got to bring that big dude down, and they will be able to put. I think they're going to be able to put points on the board. They got a guy that we're familiar with at receiver who made a lot of plays at Florida before he rolled up out of here, and I think that Billy Gonzalez wishes he might have stayed. So
I
so
think.
one of those things where last name Whittemore. I mean, we're gonna see him
Yeah.
again, and so and they got the tailback, two tailbacks that are really good football players. I hear that they're not as great up front, but the quarterback can fix a lot of that. I'm gonna go UCF.
With everything that I'm hearing, I got a good friend of mine that's a fan of this team. I'm gonna say Michigan State. I think that
Mm.
Mel Tucker. I think that Mel Tucker has something exciting going on with them, and I think that they could make some noise in the Big Ten,
Who they hire?
especially this.
Who they hire?
Well, Mel Tucker's their head coach, right?
I got fired.
Oh, I thought that Mel Tucker was still. Well, wait a minute.
I don't think so.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait. I thought that Mel Tucker was there.
No,
Uh,
don't think so.
uh, I thought that. I
John,
thought that
no, they hired Jonathan Smith
Jonathan Smith. Okay,
from
well, so
Oregon
much for
State.
that idea.
Yeah,
I thought that. Okay,
yeah,
I thought that Mel Tucker was
yeah.
the head
I like
coach.
Mel too. I mean, I know he had a
I
tough.
did too. I thought he was still there. That's why
I've known Mel. I've known Mel for quite some time. He and I actually played with God rest his soul. One of his good friends and I played together at Ohio Northern, and Mel and him grew up together. So I've
Oh,
known Mel.
really?
I've known Mel since he was a GA at Wisconsin under Barry
Oh,
Alvarez.
wow.
Yeah, Mel's already dude, man. I mean, I hate that things happen that way, but yeah, they hired Jonathan Smith. I remember that now.
Well, so much for my surprise. I thought,
Well, I mean, but like you said, you got some intel, and I mean, it could be,
Well,
Jonathan,
no,
Jonathan Smith
the
did a
thing is,
great
my
job
friend
for Oregon
did.
State. So
The thing is, my friend is like he didn't tell me that they had a new head coach, so that's
right,
gonna be some trouble there and all.
right.
Did Jim Harbaugh get a bad deal?
At Michigan?
Yeah. Do you think the NCAA? Do you think the NCAA was too harsh on him, or you
No,
think it was just right?
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay. No, I you know.
No.
I mean,
What would have been harsh, I think, was them making them vacate the title. That would have been
yeah,
hard
yeah,
because that
yeah.
hurts the kids.
Right. Right.
But
So
but
okay.
with him, and it was just too shaky, man. It was just too much, just too shaky.
Now,
And
my understanding that if he leaves the NFL, he cannot coach football in college for 4 years. Is that the way this works?
no, but you have to, like, a show cause is you have to show, like, I think you have to, like, really press the issue when you hire a guy with a show cause. And then there's some
Okay.
stuff with the NCAA. I used to really know it. And if you look it up, I mean, it clearly outlines what a show cause is and that kind of thing. But it usually you don't really want to hire a guy with a show cause.
Yeah, no, I don't think you would. Thank God Billy Napier's not that kind of guy. I've kept you on longer than I really wanted you.
No
So
worries, man. Anytime.
hey, I know you got to go on with Buddy Martin here in just a little bit, and I'm still trying to work on get him to come on. So
No. I got you. I haven't forgot. I'm gonna get with him. Matter of fact, I'll call him tomorrow. I just keep forgetting. He'll do it. He'll do it.
How is he doing, by the way? I know he lost his wife a year ago, and I know he got remarried, but
Yeah, he's doing. They're
that's
up.
still kind of hard, you know.
Yeah, they're still up in Panama City, doing well. He looks over the water every morning and has his coffee, and Buddy's still sharp, man. And so I mean,
Oh
I think
yeah,
we get up in age, man, sometime, and that's a when you've been with somebody every step of the way since you were 19, 20 years old, and you try to think about this life on your own. I think about it all the time. If that woman in that next room wasn't here anymore, how would I do alone? And so Buddy has found somebody that he can continue to grow with and live life, and Buddy's gonna be one of these guys, man. He gonna ride it till the wheels fall off, and he's got a sharp mind, still one of the best writers in the country, and just sharp dude. So yeah, I mean, I think that he's doing really well. They're kind of splitting their
that's
time
great.
between
That's
Panama
great.
City
That's awesome.
and
That's
Ocala,
awesome.
doing well.
That's awesome. And by the way, one more thing before I let you go. How's the new communications director for the Florida Gators working out? I know that our previous guy left to go to the Miami Dolphins. How's the new guy working out?
Pretty good. Scott's a nice guy, man. He, the one thing I like about him, and I'm not saying Rick didn't do this either, but
No, we're talking.
you got to respect the guy. You email a guy and he emails you back.
Nice.
A lot of times that's kind of, like I said, I'm far, Buddy will deal with him about certain things, as the chief guy, but as associate editor per se of Gator Bay Media, I just kind of, shake hands. He's very, hey, how you doing? Gives you a pound, and we kind of leave it at that. But he seems to be kind of fitting in well, still finding his way, but seems to be a decent guy.
Any big news that we can
Western guy, by the way, though. That's cool. He's an Indiana guy.
I thought he went to school. I thought he went to school at LSU.
He might went to LSU, but he's from Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I can see you can relate to that as well. There
Yeah,
you go. Any news to expect over the course of the next week and a half or so? Any big news that you expect?
Nah, because a lot of people usually hang. I mean, if you're interested in college teams, you talk about like Ohio State announced that Will Howard will be the starter, at least for the first game to open the season. If you take a deep dive into some of these quarterback battles that are kind of going on, they'll start to name some of the starters, things like that, and then certain teams will start putting out a depth chart and that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, I need to my homework for the next 2 weeks will be to start really studying up on the Miami Hurricanes and really taking a deep dive for when I write and that kind of thing. But yeah, just kind of watch some of that, and and then just there's going to be some injuries and some people are going to deal with some adversity. So those things will start to be coming out, but we'll be spiking and kicking this thing off here soon, and it'll be I mean, a lot of people don't like week 0, but man, it's football, and whenever we can get football on, it's a good thing. So
There you go.
that just look for little subtle nuances, and then we'll be off.
One final question: will we see DJ Lagway in Game 1 against Miami Hurricanes?
You want to over under or a yes or no?
No. I want your opinion. Do you think we see DJ Lagway in any sort of capacity?
I don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
I would. Let me say this. I would not be shocked either way.
No, I wouldn't be either. I wouldn't be either.
If he doesn't play, I wouldn't be shocked. If he plays, I wouldn't be shocked. The only thing is, man, the question is, what kind of discussions have they had with him? I saw him a couple times in the spring. I didn't have the guts to ask him. I didn't think it was appropriate at that time. So I'm gonna let one of them heavy hitters. I'm gonna let Edgar ask. How about that? Don't let Edgar ask you. So,
DJ, do you think you're playing the game against the?
I'm gonna let Edgar ask Gillis. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna let Edgar ask Coach Nathan.
Oh, okay. This is So my impersonation of Edgar, talking to Billy Napier. Coach, do you think that DJ Lagway were playing the game against Miami? Are you expecting that? Okay, sorry. I just had to do that. So,
Yeah, I hear
I
you.
mean, Kellen Edgar asked the first question every press conference.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing. Hey, listen, I've taken more
So
time than I need.
he runs a good show, man. He's a solid guy, man, and all those guys are. I mean, you talk about
What's his last name?
Thompson,
That's right, Edgar
yeah,
Thompson. I
but
think of
you
the
know Nick
Orlando.
Or and Jacob Rudner and Graham. I mean, they all do a great job, man. Those guys
I
are,
know.
and then
Trying
David
to.
Whitley, who's knowledgeable. I mean, they got a lot of Kevin Brockway is another one. Both those guys with the Sun.
I
They're
want you to do me a favor. I want you to do me a favor. You don't mind if you see David Whitley, make sure that you tell him about my show and tell him the animal said hello.
I will.
He knows me, and I'm
Yeah, no, I
certain
will.
that thing.
I talked to Whitley. I see him at the gym too. So
Nice.
that's
Tell him the animal said hello. I want to get him on my show sometime. I've taken him more time than I need to. Thank you so much for being part of my show. Can we count on you 2 weeks from today? Preview the Miami game?
absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, Lauren Meadows, thank you so much for joining me. You're fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye. God bless. That is Lauren Meadows joining me on this edition of the animal of the let's see. I'm going to kick him out here real quick. Have full cup of Joe. We do Shirley Joe Fulford here on a beautiful Thursday night where we are about 2 weeks away from this Saturday of football getting underway. Actually, it's going to begin next week with several games, and it's amazing as I was uh, as I was looking at the slate of games that will be going on. I was really surprised to see the amount of games that what's going to be played next Saturday, and we'll talk about it more because there'll be 4 games on Saturday the 24th. I mean, it's just May 24th and the 24th. There'll be 4 games, and then it all kicks up on Thursday, August 29th. With a lot of games in tap on that night. Let's see here. Number 12, Utah will be at home. Missouri will be at home. UCF will be at home. And then Friday night, some games, including Michigan State, will be at home as well. We'll talk about all of that next week. But as far as the big thing going on, Bucks, Jacksonville, Saturday night in Jacksonville. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be one of the last times that Jacksonville. It's going to be, I believe, it's going to be the last year that Jacksonville is going to be playing that stadium before they do some major upgrades to that stadium. Y'all been great tonight. I thank you so much for joining me. We've gone an hour and a half. I want to thank Lauren Meadows so much for joining me tonight. Lucas Mann with his insight on recruiting. Damian Benito joining me online with his chats. And all you guys that like my page, including Scotty Casper and Derek Klickner. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that as well. Thank you all for letting me be a part of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great weekend. I got some things going on myself, along with the lovely lady. We'll be back next Thursday, I think, to talk a little bit about the Gator game next week and any other news that may be happening in the world of sports in general. Thank you so much. Thank you, Corporate Direct, for being my sponsor. I really love it. And before I go, don't forget, when you're watching sports, always look at things half full, not half empty, because you always want to have a positive insight. Thank you for joining me. As I sign off, y'all have a great weekend. God bless.
Thanks for joining Joe Fulford on Half Full and a Cup of Joe. Don't forget to tune in next time for more football talk, analysis, and fun. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Half Full and a Cup of Joe. And remember, always keep your cup half full and your team spirit full. See you next time.